instead of finding q squared first, we've found q. And kind of the easiest way, you can solve for q squared right off the bat, but I like to just, so you don't have to memorize two different orders, just use that same order, but instead of starting from the top, you're starting one position lower. So in the first type of question, so the first question we saw, we start here at q squared and work our way down. With this type of question, you can kind of go here and then end back at q squared. There's no wrong or right way to do that. If you think of it that way, you just have to memorize one order that way, and you kind of work your way down. So from q, you can immediately use again, just like we did before, that p plus q equals 1 equation. We know what q is, so we can subtract q from both sides. P equals 1 minus q. And so p is just going to be 0.75. We've solved for, if we're doing the same table, first thing we solved for was q. We just found p. And now we can continue that same order. We get to p squared, and I don't know what number that is. 0.75 squared is, I'm not sure. Does anyone have a calculator for that one?
It's 0.56.
Oh, what is it?
0.56.
Okay, 0.56.
0.565, yeah.
All right, 565, sure. Well, here we'll just round to the hundredth. I say that for a specific reason. For the next assignment, I'm going to bring up 0.56. Now we know what p and q are, so we can solve for 2pq. It's going to be 2 times 0.25 times 0.75. Can anyone tell me what that is? Is that 0.375?
0.375, yeah.
Okay. And then lastly, we could just go back to q squared. We can just do 0.25 squared again. So that's 0.06. What is that?
0.0625.
75, what?
625. 0.062.
0.0625, we'll leave it at 0.06. And again, you can do the same checks after that and see, does it equal to what? We didn't put the exact decimal, so you might be off by 1 or 2 hundredths, but that's usually still going to be good enough, yeah, because we're just rounding at that point. So, these are kind of the two ways we see Hardy-Weinberg questions appear. You're either starting with, how many look like the recessive allele. You might get the opposite. It might start off saying, of the 100 pigs in the farm, 64 have tan skin, and that tan coloration is dominant. Well, you can deduce how many look black in that case, right? So you just subtract to get how many look like the recessive allele. So in questions that are worded this way, you want to find the number of whatever with that recessive phenotype, we would say. Phenotype, remember, is the way it's actually going to appear. And so, as opposed to genotype, so it's the number of pigs that look like the recessive allele. So even if it doesn't give it to you right away, you can just assume that the ones who don't look dominant look recessive, right? Because we're always dealing in these questions with, you're going to look one of two ways. We're just dealing with two alleles here. And if it doesn't give you the number, it's going to give you some percent most of the time that you just turn into a frequency. And so you can kind of use this to ask yourself, did you kind of go through that process going through the table? Going through the table of the activity we just did. If you didn't and you had trouble trying to solve for each one, then hopefully going through these steps helps out. So these slides are up on Blackboard now if you want to refer back to them. But if we look just at the example here, we're starting off with a percent, specifically the percent that look brown. That's the recessive allele. You can just turn that into a frequency. You're solving for Q squared. It's just the percent divided by 100. And from there, you can go through that same workflow. So most of y'all might have gotten Q squared first. From there, solve for Q, and then you can solve P squared, 2PQ from there. So the other kind of the last part here, especially the problem solving, is sort of optional. And I just give this for people who want extra practice here. But if you want to go over them, you can always either email me what your responses are and I can give you feedback, or if you want to stop by office hours or just meet some other time, that's fine too. But I just kind of put this as an optional aspect. So any questions? Oh, actually, the whole reason I'm stressing Hardy-Weinberg so much is because I want to bring to your attention an aspect of the syllabus that is now, or right after this class, going to be open on Blackboard, and that is the QR assignment. So the QR assignment is like a glorified homework. There are going to be 3 throughout the semester, one at the end for the end of Module 1, one that coincides with Module 3, and the other, I think, with Module 6 or something. This first assignment is all Hardy-Weinberg based. So it's kind of, QR stands for quantitative reasoning. Quantitative essentially gets down to some form of math or looking at numbers in some way. So this first one is going to be all about Hardy-Weinberg. The assignment will open up at 4:15, but you have basically until the 19th to complete this. So you have just under 2 weeks. There's not much to it. It's, I think, a total of 8 questions, 4 or 5 of which actually involve the math. But it's just the same math that you've done here. It's just going to look a little different. It'll talk about squirrels instead of pigs, and other than that, you're still solving for those same 5 things. You just want to read the questions carefully, ask yourself, what am I solving for? P, Q, P squared, 2PQ, or Q squared. And then the other thing that tends to be kind of nitpicky, but read the question carefully to see, is it asking for a frequency, a percentage, the total number of squirrels or something? And you can work through it that way. So the QR assignment will be up on Blackboard. It's coursework, so it'll be under the coursework. You'll see it. Actually, you can see it now, but the 3 aspects of it. Oh no, I've just made it available now. So yeah, you can now see it. Be sure to read the instructions carefully. You basically submit it through Turnitin. You'll turn whatever you write on, if you write directly on the worksheet itself, or fill in the PDF if you have a nifty digital pen. You can do that, but turn it into a PDF and upload it through Turnitin. And this is an individual assignment, so you want to make sure you're doing this one by yourself. But yeah, that's the QR assignment. It's kind of the newest aspect of the syllabus that has appeared. It's also called a signature assignment. It's just worth a little bit more than a homework. The homework, also you want that to be on your radar because I've uploaded a new Weeks at a Glance. You want to keep an eye on what all is due, and there is quite a bit coming up over the next 2 weeks. So if you have trouble kind of keeping tabs on everything, this might be useful for you as just one suggested way to go about the next 2 weeks. But we're here at the 7th, and 2 weeks from now we'll have the first unit exam covering all of modules 1 and 2. We haven't gotten into module 2 yet, but part of that just speaks to really how short Module 2 is. There's not all that much to it. There's going to be one IRAT and TRAT, and it kind of just is a continuation of Module 1 in some ways. So be sure to take a look at this to keep up to date with many of the due dates. Any questions about, I know that's a lot, but any aspect there? Yeah.
The perusal that's due on.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was brought to my attention that it said it was due yesterday or something,
Yeah.
but I've changed that. It was gonna, in class I had said it was gonna be due the 12th, but now because that was my fault, the confusion there, I've extended it by 2 more days. It's gonna, that and the homework will be due by midnight, by 11:59 p.m. of the 14th. So you basically have a week and change starting from now to complete the Module 1 guided reading and that Module 1 homework. Any other questions?